Welcome back to Just Talking. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. So in today's segment we are going to talk about the movie named The Tragedy of Macbeth. Spoiler alert. Let's start. The three witches, Catherine Hunter, chat about an imminent meeting with Lord Macbeth, Thane of Glamis, at the start of the film, Denzel Washington. Following that, a wounded sergeant approaches King Duncan of Scotland, Brendan Gleeson, and his son Malcolm, Harry Melling, advising them that Macbeth and General Banquo, Bertie Cowell, have defeated Macdonald, Thane of Corda's soldiers. Duncan lauds Macbeth and sent Ross, Alex Hassel, to put Macdonald to death. The three witches approach Macbeth and Banquo as they are walking along a seashore. They predict that Macbeth will rise to the position of Thane of Corda. Banquo inquires about his own fortunes, and is told that he will be less fortunate than Macbeth, but that he will become the father of a line of monarchs, which will make him considerably happier. Ross subsequently arrives at their camp and informs Macbeth of his new title as Thane of Corda. Macbeth sits in his tent, contemplating becoming king, as Ross prepares to execute Macdonald. Lady Macbeth, Frances McDormand, reads a message regarding the witch's prophecy from her husband. She burns the letter after finishing it and worries about her husband's intentions. Macbeth and Banquo meet Duncan, who shocks and angers Macbeth by announcing to everyone that he is appointing Malcolm as Prince of Cumberland. Duncan makes preparations to spend the evening in Inverness at Macbeth's castle. Macbeth chats with his wife, who questions his manhood and suggests that Macbeth murder Duncan while the palace attendants are drugged. After the servants have passed out, Macbeth begins his scheme late at night. He has a brief conversation with Banquo, who is accompanied by his son Florence, Lucas Barker. Later, Macbeth reluctantly approaches Duncan's bedchamber and stabs him in the throat. Macbeth comes to his apartment, and because he is so terrified, Lady Macbeth takes over. Lord Macduff, Thane of Fife, Corey Hawkins, arrives to the castle early in the morning with a nobleman named Lennox Miles Anderson. When he enters Duncan's room, he finds him body. Macbeth rushes to Duncan's room after hearing the news and kills his two guards, suspecting them of the murder. Malcolm and his brother Donalbain, Matt Helm, leave to England and Ireland, respectively, as a result of this news. After that, Macbeth is crowned King of Scotland. Duncan's sons have gone, making them suspects in his murder, according to Macduff. Ross comes into an old man cowering behind rocks mumbling something prophetic after Macduff has left. Banquo speaks to himself about his role in the prophecy. Following his meeting with Macbeth, the king speaks to two murderers, Scott Sabiono and Brian Thompson, to persuade them to assassinate Banquo, whom he sees as a further impediment to his conquest due to the prophecy that he will father kings. They are also to slay Florence, according to Macbeth. Lady Macbeth begins to worry about her husband's deteriorating sanity. While waiting for Banquo and Florence to return home, Ross joins the murderers. They attack and murder Banquo, but Florence flees into a field, where he is discovered by Ross. After the killers confirm Banquo's death, Macbeth hosts a regal dinner. As he stumbles away in a trance, Ross observes that he appears ill. Lady Macbeth chases after her husband, who starts hallucinating Banquo's ghost attacking him. She comforts Macbeth and requests that the other guests depart. Later, Macbeth encounters the three witches again, who warn him of Macduff, who will become king when Great Birnam Wood arrives at Dunsinane Hill, through visions of Florence. Macbeth instructs the murderers to attack Macduff's home, burning it ablaze and killing his wife and children, even putting one kid into the embers, now that Macduff has gone to England to support Malcolm. Ross travels to England undercover and meets Malcolm and Macduff. He notifies Macduff of the deaths of his family, driving the bereaved man to swear revenge on Macbeth. Malcolm also intends to assemble an army of English troops. Lady Macbeth begins to feel responsible for her husband's insanity. The maids keep an eye on her as she sleepwalks at night and starts talking to herself, figuratively yearning to wipe the blood off her hands from Macbeth's victims. As they make their way to Dunsinane Castle, Malcolm and his warriors cut down branches to hide themselves. As a potential battle looms, the servants devolve into chaos. Lady Macbeth is discovered dead at the bottom of the stairs, apparently by suicide, but also indicated to have been committed by Ross, and Macbeth gets increasingly disturbed. A few men assault him, but he battles and kills the majority of them. Macduff tracks him down and challenges the insane king to a duel. Outside, they slash each other with swords until Macbeth's crown falls off. Macduff manages to behead him as he reaches for it. He avenges both their families by bringing Macbeth's head to Malcolm. Malcolm is crowned as Scotland's new and lawful king. Later, Ross mounts his horse to track for Flauns, whom he has kept alive and concealed. They take the same train out of Scotland. So that was the end of today's segment. Please make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. Cheers.